Our Deputy Shipping Minister earlier this week named a new vessel for the Cyprus Marine and Maritime Institute. EVPLOIA APHRODITE is a battery-driven, fully electric vessel, and it's a first, I think, for Cyprus. So we're joined from the CMMI by Angelos Ktoris. Angelos, a big event, I think, because it's part of what we have to do to go green. But why haven't we got more electric vessels? Are they unusual?
Yeah, I think that the problem with implementing new technologies and that might revolutionize the industry in any discipline, not only shipping, you will need the proper infrastructure to facilitate this transition. So if our marinas, our ports are not equipped with the proper infrastructures, we will not be able to make the transition on time to meet the targets of either the EU or the IMO for shipping.
So where is this vessel going to charge itself?
The vessel is equipped with photovoltaics, so it can be charged by itself. So if the battery is empty for the specific application, the vessel will be charged within 10 days, free of charge by the sun. But of course, because we might need missions to happen on a daily basis, the vessel can be charged by the grid of the Larnaca Marina overnight.
So there is a backup. It's not just the sun, because in the winter that could be a problem, couldn't it? I know it gets some recharging, but probably not enough. What sort of work is this ship going to be doing?
The vessel will act as a research platform for the organization. It will act as a platform for testing new technologies, not only electric-driven motors, but other technologies that might be applicable to larger vessels, not only coastal ships, to facilitate the decarbonization not only of the coastal fleet, but also ocean-going vessels. On the vessel, we will be testing algorithms for autonomous navigation, and of course, measuring other environmental parameters to assess the impacts of the climate change, not only in our region, but how it affected the whole Mediterranean Sea.
That, I think, is the main driver, isn't it, for the Cyprus Marine and Maritime Institute, that you study our seas. So I can see that it's quite useful to see if we can roll out more electric vessels, but in terms of looking at the biodiversity and the dangers posed in our coastal waters by climate change, what sort of work will it be doing on that?
First of all, since the vessel has installed electric motors on it, it means that the acoustic sound that has and the impact it has on the marine environment is nearly zero. So this as such can be one area of exploiting how noise affects either mammals or other species that live in our seas. So this is the one thing that can furtherly investigated. Another thing is on a certain periods within the year to perform expeditions so that you can collect vital parameters that affect either corals or fishes or any other species that live in our sea, and see how this affects their daily, let's say, their life, and to investigate how this through time, I mean, when we do these operations, the next 10 years, how these parameters affected and what that effect if that effect has implication on the number of the species that we see in our seas.
So, Angelos, where was this vessel built? And indeed, who else are the partners of the CMMI in this project?
The project was a consortium of companies and CMMI that were responsible for the studying, designing and constructing of the vessel. CMMI acted as a research organization as part of the consortium. We had with us Signal Generics, that were the partners that designed the smart monitoring system of the vessel in terms of the consumption, and FP Marine, who are responsible for the design of the vessel and supervision of the construction. And the project was funded by the Research and Innovation Foundation of Cyprus.
Was the design based on other electric vessels, or is this something that was totally designed from the bottom up here in Cyprus?
The vessel was an optimization of a conventional vessel that sails the coast of Cyprus, because we wanted to prove that with simple retrofit actions, you can convert at least some of the vessels sail across our seas to electric-driven ones. So the design was based on the characteristics of our seas and the distances between our ports and marinas.
The CMMI, as far as I know, looks holistically at the whole problem of our coastal waters. Now, one of those problems is, of course, the construction very close to the coast that's happening all over the place, and also putting breakwaters in areas where other people I've spoken to who are experts in coastal erosion say they shouldn't be put. Is that something that this vessel will be able to look at?
Yes, I have to say that the vessel is modular, so additional sensors and specific sensors can be installed on board to investigate this kind of developments. I mean, developments, either if it's a building or a new port or a new marina or any structure that is placed near the sea, or if a structure affects how the sea impacts the coastline. So with the proper sensors and equipment on board the vessel, this can be further investigated. So you have the tools to analyze the data. So when you're, let's say, performing a study, you have the data to back up your arguments.
And when you've got that data and you've collated it all, who do you pass it on to so that this translates into policy decisions?
I mean, depending on the application, on who is analyzing, I mean, what discipline analyze the data that they're collecting, these studies might then give feedback to regulators, either in Cyprus for local, let's say, regulations, or via the Cyprus administration to the EU to implement new regulations, perhaps that might be applicable only for the Mediterranean. And because we know that there are some specific regulations that apply to the north, let's say Europe, that are not applicable for our seas. So this can be reversed to export expertise through our research to facilitate implementation of proper regulations in our regions.
Let's hope so, because they seem to be flouted left, right and centre. So that is EVPLOIA APHRODITE, I hope I've pronounced that correctly, the new ship that's in the fleet, shall we say, of the Cyprus Marine and Maritime Institute, which is based in Larnaca, studying our coastal waters. Angelos Ktoris, thank you very much indeed for joining me.
Thank you, Rosie. Thanks a lot.
In